My wife and I have a 2-year-old son and have been married for 4 years. Our anniversary was a month ago and we found a nice, secluded cabin on Airbnb and rented it out for a long weekend getaway. My wife asked her parents if they would be willing to watch our son, and they agreed as long as we dropped him off at their house. That worked for us since it was on our way anyway. I was raised Lutheran and my wife was raised Catholic, but neither of us currently go to church and have not had our son baptized. My mother-in-law knows this and hates it. She thinks our son needs to be baptized or he will burn in hell. She's that kind of Catholic. So we go on our trip, and when we pick up our son and ask how the weekend went, mother-in-law says everything went fine and that she has saved my son's soul from the devil. I ask her what she meant and she says she had our son baptized that morning at her church. I tried my best to keep my cool so I didn't scream at mother-in-law in front of my son, but I pretty much grabbed my son and left. On the car ride home I was fuming and told my wife as calmly as I could that this would be the last time her parents have our son unsupervised. She tried to downplay what her mom had done, but I told her we need to wait until we get home to talk about it because I'm not fighting in front of my kid. When we got home and had a chance to talk about it, things got heated. I told my wife I no longer trust her parents with our son, and that if they did something like this behind our backs, I can't trust them to respect our wishes as parents in the future. I said this was a huge breach of trust and I will forever look at her mom differently. She continued to try to defend her mom, saying that she was only doing what she thought was best for her grandson. She even downplayed it by saying that it's just a little water and a few words and we don't go to church anyway, so what does it matter? I told her that under no circumstances will I allow her parents to watch our son by themselves again. I said that we can still let them see their grandson, but only if we are present. I also said that if she doesn't see what the big deal is with this situation, that maybe we aren't on the same page as parents and maybe we need to see a counselor. She started crying and said that this isn't the kind of decision I get to make on my own, and I'm an asshole for trying to tell her what kind of relationship her parents can have with our son. I told her that I no longer have any trust or respect for her parents and that I don't know if there's anything they can do to repair that. I told her what her parents did was unforgivable in my eyes and they put themselves in this position to lose privileges with our son. She's been trying to convince me to change my mind for the last month, but I'm not budging. To me, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. My girlfriend and I have been together for about a year. Most everything is great except one thing. If I tell her I'm sick / not feeling well / hurt, she refuses to believe me. If I have a cold, she tells me I'm faking it until it goes away and then says, "See, you are fine." I'm rarely sick, so it's never been a major issue. But she has zero sympathy when I'm sick. She grew up with hypochondriac parents who were always sick with something, often self-diagnosing themselves with fatal maladies. She has limited contact with them, and the time I met them, I was told by them that they didn't have long left to live. I get it. Growing up in that household must have been awful. But what happened on Sunday just sent me over the edge. Girlfriend and my sister wanted to check out this event and we were all supposed to go. I woke up with excruciating back pain and could barely breathe. Girlfriend got so mad at me for ruining this that she wouldn't speak to me. As she was about to leave, I asked her not to leave because I thought something was wrong. She said no and left. I threw up in my bed and eventually called my parents. I was too embarrassed to call 911. And my mother and brother hauled me to the hospital. I was whisked back and after 20 minutes I was diagnosed with kidney stones, fentanyl and gravel, and I had a CT scan and then went for a procedure to bust the kidney stones. 5 hours later and I was laying on my parents' sofa in a haze. I have never, and hope to never, feel pain like that again in my life. I was sure I was going to die. The attending in the told me it's worse than childbirth and that they've had it before, too. I didn't text my girlfriend throughout because I really didn't have the strength or foresight. I was drugged up and uncomfortable. My sister found out that I had been in the emergency room and soon after my girlfriend called me. She was pissed off I didn't call her. Then I reminded her that I begged her not to leave as I thought something was wrong. She got quiet and eked out an apology. I got furious and said something rather nasty things, unsavory things. In fairness, I was on dope, still sore, peeing blood, and felt like someone had punched me in the gut. Standing was incredibly painful. I needed to take 2 days off of work and school. I rested in bed, and the only thing you can think is the person who should have been there didn't even believe me. She's texted me this week a formal apology and wants one in return for saying nasty things to her. I've been avoiding her texts / calls. I felt like shit this week and picked something up in the So I laid low, took a few days off work and relaxed. She wants to meet tonight and talk about everything, but I'm still so mad I don't know if I should hold off seeing her. Is this as big a transgression as I feel like it is? Am I blowing this out of proportion because I felt so shitty? I just am so annoyed and angry. Girlfriend didn't believe me something was wrong, and I wound up in the with kidney stones and needed a procedure. She was mad that I didn't call her. I was too doped up, and then when I blew up at her she felt bad. I'm still mad at her. I am a 25 years old male on a lakeside property that was legally and officially given to me by my parents. I have been living here for 6 years and have some great neighbors along with some not so great ones. Of all my neighbors, I have only ever had problems with one who lives right next door named Mariette. She first moved in early this summer as she had the former house on her property demolished and rebuilt. My problems started with her over the use of my wood stove and fireplaces. With the temperatures getting colder, I have started to use them daily. My house is not equipped with any form of heating outside of the wood stove and a fireplace. This means that from fall until spring I will constantly have them going to keep my place warm. My family never outfitted the home with anything better because it was for weekend trips and we would winterize and leave it when things got cold. My parents thought of adding oil heating when I moved in, however I opposed it because it was a waste of money and didn't mind splitting logs. 5 days ago, after having received my shipment of logs for the fall, I was approached by my neighbor Mariette. She came around asking for my parents, to which I said that they don't live here and that I am the homeowner. She didn't believe me and said that I was too young to be a homeowner before leaving. Later that day I heard a knock at my door and thought it was my girlfriend, so I gave my usual greeting of "Hey, sweet cheeks," while opening the door. Unfortunately, it was not her and was Mariette again, so I apologized quickly and asked what she wanted. Once again she wanted to speak with my parents, to which in a more stern tone said that I was the homeowner. This time she finally got it and said that I am violating HOA policy by using wood-burning fireplaces indoors and outdoors. In response, I said that as new as the house looks I am not a member of the group and that the town permits fireplaces and burning yard waste. She then went on to ask why I even needed them because they do nothing but harm the environment. I went on to explain that while the house exterior looks new, the house actually has been around since 1930 and still uses a wood stove and fireplace heating. She didn't believe me yet again and said she would be back with an inspector. Yesterday once again she came with another person who introduced themselves as an HOA inspector. They tried to talk about my fireplaces, but I shut them down immediately and said that I am not a member of their group. The guy then tried to lie by saying that the HOA is in control of all the properties in the area. I immediately called him out on the lie and said that he is either lazy or a moron for not knowing that I am not with them. We went back and forth one more time before I told them I will not listen to them and to stuff it and leave. I am the oldest daughter of 4 children. I'm currently 25, second oldest is 23, third is 20, and youngest is 18. When I was 8 years old, my mom had an affair with a family friend. I, being the oldest, has remembered most of it, and my younger siblings only remember growing up with our parents co-parenting. This has put a strain on my mother's and I's relationship. She cheated on my father, who was battling cancer. She didn't even try to keep it a secret from the kids. I remember during family / friend gatherings when everyone would be inside and I'd see my mom and the family friend kissing or doing things in the pool. As a kid I didn't understand, but as I got older I realized what she was doing in front of us, and I feel sick. People ended up catching on to their affair years later, and my mom left my dad and started a new relationship with this family friend. They split up shortly after that because he cheated on my mother. I've confronted her about this after my dad passed, and we all went to see a family therapist. This was roughly 3 years ago. My mom has since remarried to an incredible man, but recently she was out and bumped into this man from her past. They exchanged emails and she confided in me that they have been sending emails back and forth and are planning to meet up to chat and catch up. I read the messages and it's very apparent that the guy still has feelings. While my mom is trying to make it seem like she's just catching up with an old co-worker. But I know my mother, and I know she is still slightly infatuated with this man, and flattered that he still wants her. I mean, it's been years, why else would you want to catch up? My new stepdad knows about her past, and while he doesn't agree with it, it's been years, he wasn't in her life yet. She asked me what I thought about her meeting up with him, and said something along the lines of needing closure. She asked for my honest opinion about the matter and I told her, to be honest mom, you dealing with this guy in the past ruined yours and daddy's marriage and you guys had 4 kids. Why you think it wouldn't ruin this one, but why don't you stop being and stop thinking with your and delete this guy's damn email? She cried, said she couldn't believe I just called her and left my house. We haven't spoken for a few days. Today, I got a call from my siblings saying I hurt my mom's feelings and whatever happened between her and daddy's marriage was between them. I disagree. I had to witness my mom cheating on my father. I watched him die in bed while she was off to God knows where with this man. She asked for my opinion and my opinion is that she's selfish and who left my dad to die on his own and she wants to rekindle with this man and possibly cheat on my new stepdad.